Hello viewers, welcome back to our channel. Today we'll continue with our chicken farming series. As we said in the other video, the poultry industry is a fast growing one because of the quick returns associated with the industry. We said, for instance, the broilers take 5 months up to 5 weeks or up to 8 weeks, depending on the weight that is needed by the market. For the egg production, it's an enterprise that provides income throughout the year. And we also have the improved kienyeji chicken, which are dual purpose. They are kept for both um, meat and also egg production. And in another video, we'll be explaining why the improved kienyeji chicken are in high demand. In today's video, we'll give some tips on what you need to do before you you start your poultry enterprise. The list of tips is long, but you just focus on the preliminaries, what you need to do before you get into the enterprise, and also some tips on what you need to consider when constructing the chicken house. And once again, we are asking that you support us by subscribing to our channel and also sharing our videos. So before you start the poultry business, it is recommended or it's advisable that you assess the market in your locality. You need to assess the demand for the poultry products and even go as far as identifying a buyer or even more than one buyers to whom you will sell your poultry products. You also need to understand the pricing of the uh, broilers or the eggs, because we know that price fluctuations have made many people to get out of this business. So before you get into it, it's good to assess the price fluctuations that you may encounter. It's also good to understand the seasonality. Sometimes there are seasons that uh, poultry products are in high demand. For instance, when schools are opened, the demand for eggs and even chicken is very high. During festive seasons like Christmas or Easter, the demand again is very high. So it's good to understand, to assess and understand the market. It's also good to understand the input market. From where will you buy the day-old chicks, or from where you'll buy your feeds? There are many suppliers, for instance, in the market for the day-old chicks and also the poultry feeds. But it's advisable to buy from reputable suppliers, because you need to start with quality day-old chicks, and you also need to uh, ensure that your feeds are quality feeds with the required nutrition for the chicken. When we come to the chicken house, there are a few parameters that one needs to check. Number one, chicken are very sensitive to heat. The heat stress, for instance, can reduce their growth rate or even egg production. So when constructing the chicken house, you are advised to construct it in a east-west orientation. As you know, the sun rises in the east and sets on the west. So by constructing the chicken house on an east-west orientation, you avoid direct heat to the chicken house because that heat stress is very dangerous to the chicken. Um, the other thing is ventilation. The chicken house needs to be very well ventilated to allow air circulation because you want to avoid accumulation of disease pathogens in the chicken house. So you must allow air movement to take place. And so the chicken house, it's recommended open, um, should be open on both sides. Um, and what we mean here is when constructing, you probably just put two levels of stone at the base, and then the rest should be wire mesh on both sides of the house to allow that air movement. And as we've said, the chicken are also sensitive to uh, temperature fluctuations. And so what farmers do is they make curtains. They actually make curtains from the gunny bags and they hang them on both sides of the chicken house, both on the outside and in the inside. And the raising and lowering of the curtains help to regulate the temperature in the chicken house. Also, to provide enough ventilation, sometimes farmers put a ridge on the roof. At the rooftop, you find they put a ridge or some opening that will allow air movement and also uh, light. The other thing about the chicken house, it's recommended to have a concrete floor uh, for ease of cleaning because hygiene and sanitation is very important in the poultry business. And so, for ease of cleaning, you could have a concrete floor. The other thing is about the litter, or most farmers use what we call the deep litter system to raise their chicken. And the deep litter is where you have wood shavings covering the floor. Many farmers use wood shavings. Others use hay. Others use rice husks, and they use them to cover the floor. And the reason for this is to absorb the wood shavings, absorb the moisture. They also help to keep the chicken clean and in a good environment. Um, and notice I say wood shavings, not the sawdust, because the sawdust um, can easily get cramped up. So it's preferable that you use the wood shavings. And also, one needs to take precaution to make sure your supplier of the wood shavings gives you wood shavings that are dry. Wood shavings should not have any odor or smell, and they should not have objects like stones or pieces of wood or stuff like that. So it's good to be observant because this is a very sensitive business. The other issue is easy access to the chicken house. As we've said, you need to clean, you need to disinfect, especially when you are bringing in new chicks. And you also need to ensure that your chicken house is constructed in such a way as to keep away predators like rodents or even wild birds that can bring diseases, and even dogs, for instance. So you need to ensure that the house is well secured. Um, there are other aspects associated with the chicken house. There are some practices that um, come with a chicken house meant to ensure that people don't bring in diseases to the farm. And it's what is referred to as biosecurity in chicken production. And we'll be talking about this in another video. We'll also talk about what you need to prepare before you bring in day-old chicks. There are a number of things you need to get ready, and we'll talk about that in another video, as well as things like disease management, and also about the poultry nutrition. Many farmers these days are even formulating their own feeds, and we'll be talking about how they go about it. So subscribe to our video so that when we produce these videos, YouTube can alert you. And so for now, goodbye. Till the next one.